Hello and welcome back to episode number 3 in our series Fix My Habitat. And first of all, I want to thank you all for receiving this series so positive and watching it, loving it and leaving your likes. Yeah, I'm totally overwhelmed by it and I can tell you I have so much fun doing this. And that's why we are already in episode 3 today, and we are in Lars Woodland Zoo, if I got that correct. He told me that his habitat for his moose needed to be fixed, and he said also if I have time or if I want to, I could also go into the habitat for the fennec fox or his Arctic foxes. So I think we're looking for the moose habitat at first, and then we are going to see what we can do. I already noticed that we have a lot of warnings going on here because the Siberian tigers are starving. We definitely might have a look at this because we don't want any animals to die in this episode. So I think we're going to have a look at this right after we watched what we will find in the zoo. Okay, first of all we have the giant otters in here. That looks quite nice. And then around here we have the Arctic wolf. Okay, also a nice habitat. The only thing I would change here on the outside of the habitat is put down some double fencing so that the visitors can stick their hands through the fence and might get it bitten off. Here we have a restaurant area. Nice. Okay. So here on the left side is something. What do we have here? Okay, so this is the Arctic foxes. Yeah, okay, that could use a little more love because it's really flat. And okay, here we have a round shaped building. Let's go into. Okay, so I guess that's the deserty dome, and this might be the habitat for the foxes. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Okay, that looks nice. I like the idea. Okay, that's cool. Good. So let's walk back outside and look for the moose habitat. And for the tigers, of course. Okay, let's go this way. Here's another one. What do we have in here? Oh, here are the tigers. Okay. Okay, that's pretty cool. Big habitat. Yeah, no food in here. And once again I would do double fencing on this as well. Okay, and here we are. This seems to be the moose habitat we are working on. Okay, I like the lake situation here. Okay, we don't have a stable yet. The viewing area is pretty nice. I think I would change that a little bit and put it in a little more here towards the lake, so we can have some kind of an elevated situation here in the viewing area. we might put down a stable on the back side and connect the path with the main path here, so that the keepers can enter it. We might make it a little bit bigger and elevate that area a little bit more so that it looks a little bit more interesting. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. And yeah, I see you guys all in the time lapse. And in the meantime, I also will fix the situation with the tigers. So I'm back again with you in a second. And here we are in the time lapse now. As in the last videos, I'm going to delete everything at first, so that there's room for everything new. I decided I'm gonna keep that little guy with the arch, little Robin Hood, because he is really helpful. I would recommend you to search for him in the workshop, because it really helps a lot when you are building something and you don't know how high you should build something or how low you should go with the walls, so that your visitors will actually have the chance to look into the habitat. So this is some kind of perfect tool for you to measure your buildings. I also kept the building that Lars used for the visitors to look into the habitat, because I thought it was a pretty cool idea to keep that, and it's a cool idea to make visitors watch your animals. So that's the reason I kept it. And as I mentioned in the last two videos, I don't want to delete everything and just build something that I think might look nice. I want to use your ideas, keep the stuff that I can keep, and make something new out of it, or improve it. And that's what I did here with this build. So I had to make it a little bit bigger so that it made sense and that everything would fit. So I just copied the parts from the building around and put it down again. Yeah, I had a little bit of problem because I didn't notice at first that the building parts were in a different height, and I was a little bit confused because they didn't match up, but in the end I figured it out. So here's something I did again that I do in almost all of my builds. If you put down a roof for your building, just try to let it overlap in the front and on the sides as well, so that makes it look a little bit more natural and realistic, because in an actual house you would also have the roof overlap in the front and on the side, just because when it's raining, that the rain would not flow down the wall of the building, but keep it from flowing down the wall. Oh my god, English is so difficult sometimes, but I'm really doing my best for you to understand everything. I hope you can actually understand everything. Okay, so we're putting down some more of the roof and letting the building stick out of the roof a little bit to make it look a little bit more interesting. Those pieces that I'm using here, I didn't notice that there were actually pieces that would match a little bit better, that were not going around the corner, but just be straight pieces. I noticed it later on as I was building the stable for the moose. So there's that, you don't have to use those corner pieces. Yeah, but it would work out as well, as you can see. Yeah, I had a little bit of a hard time to put in that roof because it always was sticking out somewhere. So there's a point where I cut out some parts of that because it really annoyed me at some time, and I had to spend some time on it to actually finish it and make it look perfect. Yeah, and here's my signature thing, always framing the walls of buildings. I noticed that I do this really a lot and in almost every of my builds, so I'm trying to find something new in the future. Because I noticed as well that it might get a little bit boring if I do this all the time and don't make any different builds. Yeah, the thing that was annoying as well was that I was not able, but that's a general thing, not in this case particular, that I was not able to copy and paste these pillars around when I selected more than a single one of them. It's no problem to stick them in the ground or stick them down, but if you want to go from left to right and you select more than just one, it just doesn't work, and it doesn't fit to the grid anymore. That was really annoying. So I had to take every single one of them and put it around. Every single one. So as we had those gaps in the building, I decided to put down these big and thick logs, and it gives this a nice and very like Yosemite National Park vibe. It looks a lot more like a cabin in the woods kind of thing. And also again, these Arctic roof pieces fit very well with the theme and make it look so much nicer. Yeah, I put those logs around. We have this gap from the path that we had put in the building. We might get rid of it in a later stage because I also had a little problem with the whole building later on, because I forgot a very important thing that I'm always preaching. I didn't live up to that, and I had to pay the price for it, which was very annoying as well. But we come to that in a later stage of the video. As you can see, the building already looks a little different. I chose to put in some other windows, not those really big ones that were really overwhelming. So I decided it would look better to put in some smaller windows and give it a little bit of color with the white frame. That would look a little bit better. And now we are building the fence for the visitors. Not because the animals could escape, they can clearly not, because they can jump out of the water and into the viewing gallery, but just to make sure that our visitors would not be able to jump into the habitat. And there you already can see this little guy is very helpful to show me how high I should go with the fence so that the visitors can look into the habitat. I didn't notice that I haven't moved him up since I moved the building up, so I had to go with that, and afterwards I noticed that I could go a little bit higher with the fence. Yeah, and once again, really, really helpful, this little guy. Yeah, and there I decided to keep it simple, to not make it look that overwhelming, and just keep it simple and nice. And I think it really works out pretty fine. And we also don't have that dangerous animals in there. Of course, it would not be very pleasant to fight with a moose. That could also go very, very, very unpleasant, but it's a moose and it's not a wolf or a bear, so we didn't have this. We didn't have to build these high security fences around here. So the next thing we are going to do is make the outside of the building look nice and tight. So we had to cover up these kind of staircases, and I decided to take the wall pieces from the South American pack, some pieces that I use quite often because they are they look pretty nice, and they are perfect for such things to cover up. As you can see, this already looks very much better than it was before. And I also decided to cover up the visitors path with something like a sidewalk thing, and we also put in some mulch. Is it called mulch or mulch? In German it's called mulch, so I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it correct. But I put that pieces into there so that we can use this as some kind of planters. Yeah, you already can see where we are going with this build already, and you might have an imagination of how nice it actually could and would look after we are finished with it. But I have to tell you, it was a lot of work because I had to remove most of these things again after I noticed that I made a huge mistake. But, well, that happens sometimes. And you already might have noticed in the beginning that I made a mistake, and So here we are building once again some custom fencing, just to frame this build in a nice way. Nothing too spectacular, nothing too wild, just something that makes it look a little bit nicer. And that's also a thing, Lars, if you want to and if you like, you can copy those those fence pieces around and use it in other places in your zoo as well. Yeah, something I noticed when I was watching the video, it does indeed look like those fence pieces are some kind of off the grid, or I don't know the word in English. They are not moving linear, but they do. It's just because of the wooden logs that are a little wanky, that makes the whole fence look a little bit off, but it actually is not. So here once again we're building another custom fence. This actually is the actual fence that would keep the animals inside their habitat. So once again we're doing nothing too spectacular, just using some simple pieces. Once again I'm using the temple wall because it looks very nice, and also the one of the temple pieces that we already used for our flower things in front of the building. And once again the chain link, some wooden logs, and that metal beams that I use very often because they they look very good. They are perfect to use, and they are not too big. They are recolorable, and yeah. So, and the fence is finished and ready to be put around the habitat, which I also cut out because you don't have to watch me doing 1 hour of putting fences down. And we are also going to build a stable for the moose, as I said, because they need some shelter in the habitat. And yeah, that's why I thought it would be nice to give them a nice stable as well. Yeah, I did go for a simple shape for the stable, but I realized when I was putting down the roof, when I was putting down the roof, like I do now, that the roof would stick out a little too much, and the moose would probably not be able to leave the building. So I had to go a little bit more up with the roof, so that it won't hinder our moose to lift the building. For the build, I actually used the Arctic wooden pieces. That's something I also use in most of, no, in actually all of my buildings in my sandbox zoo in Swamp Lake Zoo, where I built those buildings in a very similar way, if not the same way. So these, so this build of the moose habitat, by the way, here are the pieces that I talked about earlier. So the build of this moose habitat was actually some kind of a home run for me, because I built this style so much right now in my sandbox North American Zoo. that it was not too difficult to come up with some ideas for that. As well as the fences that I built here for the habitat, I built something similar for Swamp Lake Zoo. And by the way, you can find those fences as well in the Steam workshop, because I built quite a lot different ones for my North American zoo. So you, if you're interested, you can find it there. I will put the link in the video description, so you can find it in the workshop and you can download it there and use them for yourself. So there are walls for smaller animals, for the cougar, and some for like the moose or some bigger herbivores. Okay, that building is close to be finished now. As I said, I didn't want to go too much in detail for that building, but I still wanted it to fit the theme and be some kind fitting to the viewing platform. Yeah, so we're placing it in the perfect place for the build, and then we are going to finish the walls. Just some detail work to make it look good. Yeah, and now we are pretty much finished with the habitat. Not with the decoration, but with the habitat. And here's something I decided I wanted to have in the viewing building. So I decided to put down some chimneys and use the special effects with the smoke, so that the chimney would actually be smoking as well. I thought that would be a nice gimmick and very fitting for that area and for that kind of a build as well. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, and it's time for us to actually set the boundaries for our habitat. That's a thing that I often do forget in my sandbox builds, because after I put down my custom fences, I often forget that that I actually have to put these no fences around as well, so that I can put animals in the habitat. Yeah, then we also wanted to have a door to make it look natural and some kind of realistic. And yeah, we're pretty much finished. And this was the point I realized something was wrong, because I could not put the water level higher than this. And then I realized, okay, good. It was not the problem of the fence, that I already put the fence in, but it was the problem that I already put the path in. And that blocked me from putting down the water. So what I had to do was delete the path, put in the water, and then put in the path again. And it was a hell of a job to do. because everything was matching the build that we had before, and I had to redo almost everything. I managed to do that, and let this be a lesson for you. When you plan a habitat, first of all, make the terrain building, then afterwards put in the water, paint the terrain, put down rocks and plants. Okay, you can do that in a later stage, but put down the water before you put down fencing or path. Because once you put down your path or the fencing, it will affect the water level in your habitat. So just do it beforehand so that you wouldn't have the problems. Here at this stage I already fixed it. You might notice that it looks a little bit different, but not too much, luckily. And yeah, we're putting down the plants and the planters. Yeah, and it looks really, really nice. So as we have finished the outside of the build, we have now to put down some rocks and some plants in the habitat as well. Here I'm covering up the part of the path that was hanging over. And once again, a tip for you as well. You might have noticed that I had some new videos, or a new video on my channel that is called the Planet Zoo Classroom, where I teach you in the first video how to make habitats look natural. One thing I'm not talking about is, not yet, is how to make ponds or rivers or something like that make look natural. I might do a video for that as well. But notice that you have to put down some kind of rocks around your pond or lake or river as well, to make it look a little bit more natural. Because if you just let it be like it is in here now, it looks a little bit off. So you will see what I am doing with it. You also see me now covering the little hill that I put in there. That's one thing you also have to do when you want to look when you want to make to look your habitats more nicely. Always do some elevation in your habitats, always. When you put down plants, put the plants down, put the trees down on the backside of your habitats, so that the viewers might be able to see your animals. Also try to use only 5 or maximum 6 different kind of trees. Use the shrubbery and the bushes, use them between the rocks, so that it looks a little bit more nice and dense, and that the rocks don't look that rough. And also use the bushes to cover up the stem of the trees a little bit. And always sink them into the ground. Don't use them completely. Always sink those bushes into the ground, because that looks way better and nicer. And here you see me put down many of those water plants. To make it look a little bit more natural and overgrown. Here the game crashed for a short minute. Yeah, so that this pond looks really natural and lush, and also those dead birch trees. And also think about putting something down close to your walls, trees or bushes, just to cover them up a little bit. We don't have to keep the illusion completely alive. People know that this is a zoo, so they expect to have some fences around there. But if you can cover them up a little bit, it looks a little bit nicer. Here I was playing with watercolors because I thought maybe we would use a different color, make it a little bit more dirtier, as you might have it in nature. But I decided to not do this. Here's a little bit more rock work because I thought it was not much enough. And once again putting down some trees around it. And I really love the look of the viewing gallery into that habitat. I thought it was just amazing. Yeah, some education signs, some education boards, or information boards. Some benches for the visitors to sit down, and also some trash bins. And donation boxes. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, just some props for the animals. Some bedding inside so that the animals might actually use their stable. And some toys, some enrichment. And then we are done with the speed build. We're just buying the moose, bring them in our habitat, and then we are finished. So we are going to end the speed build now and going back into the real-time part and just enjoy the look into the new habitat. So see you soon, guys. Okay, we're back in the real-time part, and now we have bought 3 moose and we're going to put them in their habitat. Before we do that, I had to do some fixes and to adjust some things, assign some keepers to that habitat, and yeah, we are ready. Yeah, I was wondering why the zoo was closed, but okay. We are ready for our animals to arrive, and the first one is already in. So Ria arrived, and first of all I was a little bit nervous because I thought, oh my god, she could not leave the stable, but I guess she really liked that stable and didn't want it to leave. Well, okay. But now, no, here she is. Here she is. Doesn't that look beautiful? I normally don't want to brag about myself, and I'm not willing to do that, but I really love how this habitat turned out. It looks so natural and so lush and so I just love it. I just love it, and I was a little bit jealous that I didn't build this habitat for myself for one of my zoos, because yeah, with that viewing gallery and everything, it looked so perfect. Yeah, and once again, I was obsessed with that view. Doesn't that look nice? Just perfect. Yeah, once again, as we are coming to an end here, sorry that this video is so long, but I couldn't cut out all of the stuff because I thought it might be very interesting for you. If you want to participate in Fix My Habitat, you still can do. Just send me an email to michael.bakeplay@gmail.com. Send me your zoo save file from your zoo, send me an email which habitat I should do and what DLCs you do have, so I can fix that. If you have any further questions, just send me an email and I will do my best to fix your habitat as well. Don't be shy, just do it. And yeah, by this being said, if you like the video, please leave a like, subscribe to my channel so I can do this in the future as well, and I hope to see you guys in the next video as well. So bye.